Well, after the winter respite, it's back to racing action for sim racing for simpletons as we are here at the Autodromo Internazionale del Mugello, just off of Scopria e San Piero in Italy for round one, season one, 2025. Hello and welcome to the JP Broadcasting Network. You join myself, Alex Goldschmidt, and I'll be accompanied pretty much all the way through the season for this season 5 with James Parfitt, and also be controlling the cameras behind the scenes. But of course, dust had settled after season 4, and there was a titanic battle, but only one could call themselves the Series 4 champion. Let's take a look back and saw what transpired in season 4. How long is it? Well, Jeff Groff became our Sim Racing for Simpletons Series 4 champion with a total of 269 points, edging out Christian Jasper, who was on 223. Anthony Zitch, who was also in the battle for the championship for Season 4, put it third on 213 points. Then we have the very rapid Gabriel Hopp, who at times showed great consistency but also didn't have the best run of luck. We're getting ready and set for qualifying. Carson Keane is also a known fixture here as well. Rounded out the top 5 on 176 points. Let's bring James Parfitt into the booth. Mr. Parfitt, what a place to start season 5 and also start sim racing for simpletons for 2025 here, buddy.
Yeah, it's been a long wait, but Brian's been out and his admins have been out doing some wonderful advertising and pushing and prodding and promoting. And we've got people from all over the globe. We've got a couple of Europeans in Mr. Tim Perry from Altitude Esports. I know Tim from JPB Series. We've got Gabriel Hopp from Brazil, Peter Herveding from Norway, and then Canadians and Americans after that as well. So, yes. No, Pablo won. Gabriel got second after Jeff hit him at Interlagos. Jeff got third. Well, that's your standing, sir.
Well, we're going by the final standings
that you posted.
We're going by what the final championship season 4 Super Formulas. But let's get that dust settled and out of the way, shall we? Because it's a new season. We have an 8-round calendar. So this is going to run all the way through to March 7th. So we've got Mugello. We then go to the Temple of Speed next week, Monza. Then we go to our favourite circuit and also Gabriel Hopp's favourite circuit, Interlagos for round 3 on the 2nd of February. Jerez is then next up on February 9th. Circuit Gilles Villeneuve in Montreal, February the 16th. Imola on February the 23rd. Red Bull Ring on March the 2nd. And then the Season 5 finale takes place in the Netherlands at Circuit Zandvoort. So qualifying is underway. 10 minutes for us to decide the grid. Of course, the Super Formulas that you guys have seen on Sim Racing for Simpletons for the last few seasons. It's a tried and tested vehicle. Turbocharged inline 4, 2 litre, pushing at around about 500 plus horsepower. But of course, the other thing that we've got here, James, that we love about Super Formula cars, the push to pass.
Yeah, that little push to pass button that gives them an extra boost of speed that then they're able to go and overtake people. However, they can use it to defend as well, so they will have to be a little bit mindful of when they're going to be using it. Now, if anybody watched the Super Formula Lights earlier on, you will know that there doesn't seem, that's not good, Crispy and Jasper, there doesn't seem to be many places to use that push to pass. In fact, as we figured out during that race, there was actually only one. Can you guess, Mr. Goldschmidt, where that one passing opportunity would be?
What, here at Mugello, it's on the run down to San Donato at turn 1.
That's it. That is literally where we found all overtakes to take place. There was a couple of attempts up through Poggio Seco and up through Materazzi, but it was literally mainly down into turn 1. So if you're under defense, save it for turn 1. If you're under attack, save it for turn 1. Then you should be good, because that was the main place. Now, one of the other things, that is not going to help, okay? Spitting marbles onto the racetrack, as we knew the new particle model come out for iRacing that basically puts all of that on the racetrack. And guess what it makes it does? Well, it makes it slippery. As again we saw earlier as well, Alex, the debris line came down towards the racing line. So as they were trying to overtake, a couple of people were out on the debris line, didn't quite stop the car.
And then, whoops.
Yes.
in that random order.
Yes.
But more to the point, we have got times on the board. 14 drivers, being led by JT Smeaton, who's put in the best effort of a 26.111. Adam Merchant, Jeff Groff, Braden Carroll, and Tim Perry round out the top 5, covered by 8 tenths. Joel Peguero in the number 3 goes up to 9th, ahead of Jake Katz in the 17. But Braden Carroll now goes top, and well, by nearly half a second, 1:25.651. So we've got the best part of a quarter of a century of drivers here at Mugello. And of course, the Temple of Speed at Monza next week is going to be pretty much, where do you want to overtake? Anywhere you can find a space. So a very different kettle of fish to what we've got here at Mugello. A lot more of a technical track. Opened on the 23rd of June 1974. Measures just over 5.2 kilometres. 15 corners in all. And you can see Seth MacFarlane doing the good old Budweiser livery on the number 21. Currently running 15th, make that 16th now, as Anthony Zitch has come into the pits. But 10-minute qualifying, drivers have 4 laps to put in their best effort. And more to the point, there is Adam Merchant in the number 4 car, currently running P4 at the minute on a best effort of a 26.181. So a very technical circuit, and as James alluded to, this is where you get to use your good old push to pass. And more to the point, seeing who is going to put it on provisional pole. Adam Merchant goes top, 25.117. Well, Dr. Carson Keane on cue, just over a tenth behind. So Carson has always been a regular, sometimes hasn't been able to commit to a full season, but hopefully we've got him for the long haul right the way through to March 7th, as the times are really coming in. 21 out of the 25 drivers now having set a lap time, but we've only got 3.5 minutes of this session to go. And, well, there is our Brazilian wunderkind, Gabriel Hopp, in the number 29. Showed really good signs of battling and also good prowess, but also didn't have the best run of luck last season.
No, I think it was a very up and down season for a couple of people, and I think that he may sit back and rue the fact that he had that up and down season, and it came obviously so close, you know, to winning the championship. He finished second, but it's all consistency. these cars are not easy. I think this is what people think. You just jump in this and you go. Well, you do, but if you get it wrong, you're going in the gravel and in the grass and in the wall. So they've got to make sure that they can get this right. That's the thing with these cars. Gabriel Hop's still got no time on the board. He is out on the racetrack. I've got a funny feeling Joshua Benjamin and Chad Peterson are not going to be setting times. So we'll have 23 runners and riders on this. Well, Gabriel has literally got this lap left. If he does not set a time this lap, he will be starting down there.
Well, he puts it Pete on that effort.
But there you go. If you're going to do it, you might as well wait.
Yeah, last-ditch effort, lastminute.com. So that's his 4 laps completed. Anthony Zitch has only completed nearly 2 laps. Bryce Benton 3. Seth MacFarlane's done his 4. Brian Long's just gone up into 12th position on a 25.975. So the total amount of laps being covered today will be 29. It will be a standing start, as here comes out of the final corner Tim Perry out of Buccini, and will go across the line. Can he improve from 8th place? No.
That's Nathan Say, and he's gone up from 23rd to 19th.
Okay. So Nathan Say, in the 818. So pretty close spread. Top 20 covered by just under 2.1 seconds. And that's Eamon Hake in the number 44, running the old... it's a tribute to the old Scuderia Toro Rosso colours. Back when you had the likes of Brendan Hartley running in that squad. But Eamon is currently running on his 3rd lap and is pulling to a stop because we are always, I think maybe just gathering. Well, he's come to a stop. We've still got 45 minutes to go. Lights up the rear tyres. Short burst of 11s, and the 23 drivers, including Blake Toe in the number 53, have done some laps. Anthony Zitch is going to start all the way down from 22nd position. He hasn't been able to get out and put in those extra couple of laps that could have made all the difference there. Yep.
I think for Anthony, he's going to have to just go back from the back to the front, should we say? I don't know.
Here from the rear.
Yeah, he's going to have to try and do quite a lot. So, Anthony Zitch there. But, it does look like Chad Peterson and Joshua Benjamin have not taken part in qualifying. But still, 23 drivers on the racetrack. So, looking forward to this one. Should be a good opening round here as well. But there will be the grid for you very, very shortly.
Thank you very much, James. So, here is your grid for round 1 of Season 5 for Sim Racing for Simpletons, live from Mugello here in Italy. So it's Adam Merchant versus JT Smeaton on the front row. Gabriel Hop alongside with Carson Keane on row 2. Braden Carroll and Jeff Groff on row number 3. Row 4 completed by Chris Sears and Tim Perry. Frankie Brzezowski and Brian Long round out the top 10 with Frankie Arvello and Max Voorhees on row 6. Joel Peguero and Jake Katz on row 7, Christian Jasper and Nick Dvornik on row 8, Nathan Say and Peter Hevding rounding out the top 9 rows, completing the top 20, Bryce Benton and Seth MacFarlane, Eamon Hake and Anthony Zitch on row 11, Blake Toe starting 23rd, Joshua Benjamin has just jumped onto the grid, so I'm not too sure if we might get Chad Peterson on the grid as well, but Joshua's decided. I'll give it a shot and see what I've got. I mean, you don't know until you try, but we are still waiting for a few of the drivers here, James, just to ready up on the grid. Of course, push to pass, very, very crucial. Once it is exhausted, you are at the mercy of the opposition. You might have a few drivers that could be finding themselves starting from pit lane, because if they've chosen now to have their comfort break, it was the wrong time to do it. They should have done it before qualifying. But yeah, we still got, say, Benton, Hake, and Benton's jumped on the grid, Peterson yet to do so. So we've got 3, possibly 2 or 3 drivers ready to go, but we are pretty much on starters orders. We're coming up to 2 minutes of time expired so far before we go underway for 29 laps of this circuit that is now celebrating its 51st anniversary this year. So Nathan Say has gotten on the grid. Eamon Hake yet to do so. Hake's going to start from the pit lane as the 5 red lights now start to ignite. The revs start to build here for Sim Racing for Simpletons Season 5 Round 1. And we're underway. The lights go out and a good start from Adam Merchant from the front row of the grid. JT Smeaton slots in behind as they head into San Donato at the opening corner. Gabriel Hopp looking to the outside early doors, might try the over-under into turns 1 and 2 at San Donato and Lucco before Poggio Secco coming up here at turn 3, the right-hander. But a good start there from Adam Merchant. Pretty good run by him to put it on pole position. And what you're seeing there, folks, is when they run a little bit wide, coming out of Poggio Secco onto the kitty litter, it gets picked up by the left side tyres, and that can compromise grip. Air temperature currently 64.4 degrees Fahrenheit, 71.6 for the track. It is very, very cloudy. And of course, at the moment, well, Joe Peguero and Christian Jasper have found themselves in the pit lane very, very early. What's happened here?
Yeah, they've had a bit of a ding-dong here. There they go. Bang, over goes Jasper, and they got hooked together. And unfortunately, that would be that for them too. So bit of a rough start for them, but Merchant did what he needed to do. He got out in front. He's out in front by about a second. You can see it's going to be dry at the moment, 0% chance of rain, so we can take it will be a complete dry race. But Adam Merchant got off the line. Smeaton just made a mistake there. Unfortunately, he's going to lose the place to Gabriel Hope, who's on that push to pass there, and Carson King, Jeff Groff, Tim Perry up 2 places as well, chasing down Braden Carroll, Chris Sears, Frankie Brzezowski, all trying to get on to the top there. Frankie Arvello is also in there as well. So great start for some, not so good start for Jasper and Peguero though.
Biggest mover up the order so far, Blake Toe, currently now 14th, up 9 spots, running in the BMW LMDH style livery there. So that's it's nice to see these drivers use their creative minds to get these liveries, and it does look quite discerning on a Super Formula car here. So the Carolina native running in the number 53, same number as Herbie the Love Bug for those Volkswagen Beetle fans out there. But yeah, Blake's doing some pretty good work at the minute.
Got that wrong. You can tidy up that entrance. There's a lot more curve to take on the right-hand side on the run through Casanova Savelli. You can literally take a little bit more on the right to kind of straighten up his exit out of the left-hander. So he's got to be a little bit more clean on that one. But other than that, this is looking like a nice, tidy lap from Blake as he's chasing down Jake Katz there. Brian Long a little bit further up. Braden Carroll putting pressure under Tim Perry. I love this part of this track. Great in the V8s, Gen 2s, mind you. Which I raced in last season, and it was a great hit, but this corner, it was an absolute nightmare. But these guys are probably going to do it a lot better than me, as I was in a house brick on wheels, and they're in this nice, lovely downforce machine.
So, currently after the opening 2 laps out of 29 here at Mugello, Adam Merchant leads in the number 4 car by 2.1 seconds. Now, that was someone coming out of the pits. That was Eamon Hake, I believe, in the number 44. But yeah, Christian Jasper and Joel Peguero both having 3 wheels on that on their wagons after that incident we just saw in the first replay of the day. But Braden Carroll from Valley Motorsports in the number 9 car, closing in on Tim Perry from Altitude Esports in the number 83. And Carroll's taking a little bit of time, not a big chunk, and Tim really does need to watch his exits coming out of Casanova Savelli there. He did kick up the kitty litter a bit, and he's nearly doing that going into Scarperia Pelagio, and then it's into Correntaio coming up next, which is this very deceptive right-hand hairpin before you go into Biondetti 1 and 2 before Buccini, which is the last corner. But it's great to see these cars power around, and we're seeing speeds now. Oh, sharp intake of breath by James Parfitt. What have you clocked?
Everding has just gone and made a mistake. Or, no, he didn't make the mistake.
Oh, that was with Brian Long, wasn't it?
No, Nathan Say, I think it was.
Okay, so let's have a look on board. Hefting. Yeah, well, that's...
The problem, no, it's not going to buff out, but they were told in the driver briefing that they can only move once. There's one, that pinch back, you can't do. And they were warned this as well, because there was a lot of weaving from last season, and they were warned that you cannot do that. Now you're going to have a look from the above here, as we'll take it down a little bit in slow motion. There's one, and then this comeback this side, by this point there's already overlap. And yeah, unfortunately that was on Pedder on that one. You cannot do that. That double move, it was one to defend, it wasn't one to get back onto the racing line, and unfortunately that is not good.
Yeah, well, in the meantime, Joel Peguero and Christian Jasper have spent a bit of time in the pits, both in there for the best part of nearly 3 minutes. They're both out on track, and Eamon Hakers managed to go off track again in the number 44 car, currently running now 21st. Having dropped it, but that just goes to show how technical this circuit is. And when it bites, as we've just seen there with Petter Hevding, that once it bites hard, and that car was a complete wreck, a shade of its former self as we ride back on board. Nice shot here on with Braden Carroll from Valley Motorsports, still trying to close in on Tim Perry, and well, Braden Carroll's just taken the best part of over his half out of him. So Carroll's got not just Perry, but also Jeff Groff in the number 25 up ahead. So there's an opportunity for the number 9 from the United States to close in on the 2 in front and maybe get himself into the top 5. But of course, as we both know, James, these tyres will degrade, obviously with the new debris system that iRacing has employed. And there you see it in full motion, that Braden Carroll's front tyre's got a big old smatter of gravel for someone else in front that had kicked it up, either whether it was from Groff or from Perry.
Yeah, that's the problem. That is one of the problems. It's a nice feature to add, but boy oh boy, it's not good in some cars, and I say that you're talking Gen 3 supercars and machines where they don't like not having grip at the best of times, and they have even less when they're covered in gravel and being kicked up all over the place. But as I say, they have got to watch the debris line with the marbles as well, because if they don't watch the marbles, they could be in a little bit of trouble. So yeah, unfortunately for that, it's been a bit of a mission. But Brian Long has gone and terminated himself, unfortunately.
Oh no, what's Brian done
The
here?
back end's coming round on him. He's going to be in a little bit of trouble. There we go. Can't get it stopped. Bang.
Right front's a mess. Wings off the car. In the meantime, however, Adam Merchant, Gabriel Hopp and JT Smeaton have been swapping fastest laps with the number 45 in third place, now taking that top honour. Gabriel Hopp has got the fastest but non-legal lap of the race, a 1:26.289, but JT Smeaton's just put in a 1:26.348. You can just see the back end go, steps out of him, he's a passenger, and then gravel on the car, and bang. That's all she wrote.
That was, and I was just looking, I just wanted to see if he'd picked gravel up on the exit, and there was the smallest amount of gravel on that exit of that corner, and it just caused the back end to go, and once it gone, he just couldn't correct it. And unfortunately, that was the end for our very illustrious big boss man host himself, Mr. Brian Long, of course. And yeah, live and learn, as we say again on that one. Cars getting a little bit more spread out as we're on lap 7 of 29 here. So we've got 22 laps to go, and you can see Frankie Bukowski there chasing down Chris Sears in front. They've been given there, it was all in the driver's briefing. One move, no more, no less, and no weaving like my nan knitting a jumper.
Nice analogy there, mate.
Thanks, mate.
Also, I've noticed quite a few drivers not using push to pass. So, Adam Merchant, who is leading by 1.8 seconds, and Gabriel Hopp, he's not used any push to pass. Braden Carroll, the number 9 from Valley Motorsports, in 7th, not yet used any. Also, Frankie Brzezowski has used any either. So, as we know, folks, through Sim Racing for Sympathies with Super Formula, there are some drivers who are on pure pace able to keep that consistency, and when they decide to engage that push to pass, they may strategize. What I mean by that, yes, it's an attacking and a defensive countermeasure, but there are some drivers who will use theirs up when they're in a position where others have got that little bit, just waiting the wings as if to go, right, you're 2 seconds up the road, I've got 30 seconds of push to pass to go, let's have it, shall we? And then all of a sudden, the tables are flipped on the person that's run out of that push to pass because they've just been a little bit eager on it. Chris Sears has just been overtaken by Max Voorhees, as Chris Sears looks to have dropped it.
And I can safely confirm, yes, would be the answer to that one for Chris Sears.
Yep, and, well...
There we go.
Back in steps out, 2 places lost, and Chris rejoins in 12th, having qualified 7th for this opening race out of 8. And we still ride on board with Braden Carroll. Still yet to do any push to pass, but he is taking a little bit of time out of Altitude Esports' Tim Perry. Tim's been keeping it consistent, but also in his consistency, it's a couple of times when he's been touching the kitty little with the rear wheels, isn't he?
But you see his entrance into Casanova Savelli then, well, like that, like, basically. His entrance into Casanova Savelli, you saw how much curb he was taking on the right-hand side there. You can take quite a lot. You can be brave with these, but you've got to make sure you just don't overstep it, because at that moment in time, bang, iRacing will go, nope, too far, slow down. And you're like, oh, come on. Especially up here as well. You can take a little bit of curb, but you've got to make sure you've at least got 2 left tyres or 2 right tyres on the racetrack. So then you won't get that slowdown. But yeah, this is a little bit of a rascal of a track when you push Casanova Savelli too far and too close.
Especially when it's a very, very quick right-left-hander complex before you go into the double right to Arrabbiata 1 and 2 at the far part of the circuit. So we now see, is Tim Perry using any push to pass? Looks like the purple button was the purple light is flashing on the left-hand side of the steering wheel.
I don't think he did.
But we have seen it before. No, I don't think he did, but he has used a little bit of it at the moment. But not as much as I think Jeff Groff, who's pushed to pass, has been slightly a bit more exhausted by the number 25 up ahead. But Tim keeping him honest. The gap between Groff, Perry and Carroll now stems to about a second. So they're just keeping each other in eye shot, whether it's in the rear view mirror or seeing whose rear wing is in front of you. So Braden Carroll's going to be having a rear wing of Altitude Esports Tim Perry right in his crosshairs. And bearing in mind, I think Braden Carroll will, as the fuel load lightens, he's going to start using that push to pass a little bit more. Maybe by the time we get to the halfway point of this race, we're now fast approaching the conclusion of lap 9 out of 29, which means we'll have 20 to go. And still, as you said, a little bit of stabilisation. I wouldn't call it a stalemate in the race, but it's just that little bit of stabilisation. Tim Perry now using the push to pass, so an extra 50 plus horsepower going through that rear axle. Of course, with the opportunity to close that gap, while Jeff Groff was slightly quicker than Tim Perry last time around. But yeah, I mean, it's great seeing these cars in action. I'm just looking forward to the Temple of Speed, where we are going to be hitting probably the best part of close to 200 miles an hour in these cars at full chat, with maybe a slipstream and a little bit of push to pass added in the goulash mixture. Yeah,
I think this is going to be an interesting one this season. There's a couple of racetracks where you've got quite a few long straightaways. You know, you've got the run up from Juncal into Lagos. It takes you all the way round down into turn number 1. You know, out the hairpin at Montreal, all the way up as well. Imola's start-finish line run is quite long at the same time. Red Bull, not really so much, but they've got 3 bites at a cherry. Let's not forget, from last corner to first, from first to second to third. Zandvoort again coming out of that final corner, that run down into turn number 1. So each track has got its beneficiaries here, but at the same time, they've also got their little idiosyncrasies that causes them to be a bit of a challenge. at the same time. So they've got to do some planning here, because I think they could be in trouble. Perry's light is only flashing slowly, which means it's not ready. And Carroll now is going to turn around and go, well, mine is ready, so I'm coming at you here, son, and you're going to be a sitting duck because yours is not ready. And Perry's got no response for Carroll as he goes down into turn one. That's why that placement of when that needed to be ended was a little bit more thought after for Carroll, because he knew if Perry used it down that straight, he's got to wait a whole lap before he can even remotely use it again.
Thing was, Braden Carroll was just waiting and biding his time to use the push to pass, and pretty much up until lap 9 he hadn't used it, so it was ready to deploy.
Yep.
And the light was on the whole time on the airbox. So you're going to see here Max Voorhees in the number 34 car, and he's ended up in pit lane, and he's lost at the same point as Brian Long, I believe.
Yep. Yeah, it was almost a carbon copy. Unfortunately, he's had to jump straight back to pit lane. But that's the thing. They got to know when to use that push to pass and when not to use it. Use it to defend. I'm not arguing that you need to use it to defend, but what I am saying is think about what you're doing. The draft is quite strong in these cars, and that car behind doesn't necessarily have to use it. It's on now in Bruskowski's. You can see it's 194 seconds, then you get 200 for the race. So he hasn't touched his, and now he's going to use it and go, right, I'm on my bike, son. See you later, take care. Arvello's got no response with 2 tenths ahead going into turn number 1. Job done for Bruskowski. So you've got to think about when you want to use it, because if that guy behind doesn't use it, you on the next lap are just going to be an absolute sitting duck.
Yep, which means that Adam Merchant, still the only driver yet to use the push to pass, basically, because he hasn't had the need to at the moment.
Nope.
And he has also put in a new fastest lap of the race, a 1:25.744. His lead over Gabriel Hopp, who's also in the same shot for the briefest of moments as they go through Correntaio before Biondetti 1 and 2. Merchant's last lap, 25.744. New fastest lap of the race as we fast make our way towards the start of lap number 13, which will put us at a third distance after that 5.2 kilometers gets covered. And there you see Gabriel Hopp engaging his push to pass. He's still got 160 seconds left to go, and he's trying to close that gap down. He's got it down to 1.5 seconds into San Donato at turn 1 before the next left-hander here at Lucco, and then Poggio Secco, the right-hander, at 3 coming up before we head to Materazzi, Borgo San Lorenzo, and then Castelnuovo Savelli. And then the good thing is that certain tracks, as Braden Carroll had that was a code brown right there. Braden Carroll pushing the limit, and that was through Borgo San Lorenzo, lost the back end, nearly ended up in the wall, and managed to save it. Frankie Arvello getting back onto level peggings with Frankie Brzezowski in the number 14, and this is the battle for P8 on the road, and Arvello, based out of New England, still giving Brzezowski something to think about, keeping him very, very honest. And that's what I like about this series, is that you'll find these clumps of battles, and the battles that we've got at the moment are Braden Carroll and Tim Perry, Frankie Brzezowski and Frankie Arvello, then Bryce Benton versus Anthony Zitch, and Zitch has moved up 9 places and is now currently running P13 at the moment. Of course, a very difficult qualifying session for him. He really only did 2 laps, and another new fastest lap by the race leader, and the gap has gone up between Merchant and Hopp to 1.8 seconds plus change. But Anthony Zitch still trying to close on in, and he's got Bryce Benton in the number 88 just in front.
Yeah, he used that PTP very early. He was already on it coming around the final corner. Looks like Blake Toe's been off the side of the circuit. He was on it very, very early there. It was almost giving him a boost out of the corner, but now he's got to make a decision. Is he going to go left, which he is. He's going to try round that outside line. You're not going to get it, dude. There's no grip out there. Now he's got to try and come back into the left-hander here, take a little bit of curb, settle, little, leave the sausages alone. They're going to not be to your best friend out there, I can tell you that much. But
yeah, they might bite you a little bit.
Yeah, definitely on that one, and then you could be in a little bit of trouble when you start bouncing these cars like he is, but he can take loads of curb here. There you go. I mean, we can actually take more than that to the right, to be honest with you, and get going once more. So Zich is showing that he's got the pace here, but he's just got to make it trying to get past Bryce Benton. So a lot to deal with on that one. Blake Toe has gone and done. Wow, that looked like that was already sliding before it even got there. Yes,
well, yeah, that was letting go before he then had to catch the slide, kept it out of the barriers, well held. And Bryce Benton is doing a bit of an Adley Fong Macau tribute at the moment, because I've just seen Hello Kitty on the rear wing of the number 88 in front, and there you go, Hello Kitty is on the car.
It's everywhere on the car.
Everywhere on the car. Wings, airbox, there you go, front wing plates, end plates and everything. Nice to see some creative liveries, as we always do here in sim racing, but yeah, it kind of reminded, what was it, Adley Fong 2 years ago in an Audi R8 had Hello Kitty on his car in the Macau GT World Cup, and unfortunately, well, he was okay, but the car was a different sight after a couple of moments coming out of Fisherman's Bend. They've just gone past Joel Peguero in the number 3, the all-black car that was tangling with Christian Jasper earlier on in the race, and they both ended up with 3 wheels on their wagon. But this is a really good battle here between Zich and Benton. This is now for 11th place on the road. Dvornik now closing in on Arvello for 13th place. So Nick Dvornik, the Canadian, closing in on Arvello, the driver from New England in front. Getting very, very close coming out of Scarperia and Palagio, and then heading into Correntaio before we've then got the Biondetti corners, and then Buccini, the last and 15th corner on this circuit. And we are past half distance here, James, and we are seeing some battles really starting to showcase themselves as some drivers are getting a little bit more comfortable. They've got a bit more into their rhythm around this circuit.
Yeah, they have. I think this circuit is very much a flow circuit. Okay, you need to have that key, that then with it. Otherwise, it will spit you out and chew you up faster than I eat McDonald's. Let's just put it that way. And before you know it, as we've seen with a couple of people here, they've already ended up in the barriers. Zich there is climbing all over Benton. Benton got a rotten turn 1. Absolute awful turn 1. That's brought Zich right into play. It's also brought Arvello and Dvornik at the same time. So if these two are not careful, this is going to be a tiny little 4-way battle here. And Bryce, I'm sorry, dude, that you got to tidy up that turn 1, otherwise you could be in a little bit of trouble. Zich is in trouble as he heads on to the kitty litter, and that has brought Arvello trying to go around the outside. Is he going to be able to make it through? He is. Wow. And I think Zich has copped a slow down there, because he's now lost 2 places.
Yeah, that was around the outside at Arrabbiata 1. That was fantastic there from Frankie Arvello. Anthony Zich just that was a bit of insult to injury there. He got the run on Bryce Benton, who, as you said, got that terrible run coming out of San Donato at T1. So Anthony Zich has got to gather himself back up all over again and try and go for it. Now he's going to have the opportunity to do so, but is he going to be on the push to pass coming out of the final corner? I would imagine he will be if he's able to deploy it, and they, well, he's not engaging it because he's got the slipstream from Nick Dvornik, who is activating his push to pass because it's flashing on the halo, just above the halo. So Dvornik just managing to keep Zich at bay, but that was a horrible run there for Anthony Zich in the number 15 SR4S car. But again, there's still time for him to make amends for that little bit of a faux pas.
Yeah, there is, but it's whether or not he's going to be able to clear Dvornik, or Dvornik's going to get Arvello at the same time. So this is the closest battle now. You can see Martin out in front, absolutely flying, dude. He is literally, I swear, he might as well stick his grandma on the nose and just poodle around with a balance there because he's literally 3 seconds out in front. Chris Sears, however, has just spent 3 seconds in the barrier. Oh, Casanova Savelli over the curve, on the left. That's going to bar.
Oh, he's hit the sausage
curve.
Yeah, sausage. It's not sausage. Yeah, it's wolves, not sausages.
Yeah, he clearly had too much mustard.
Yeah.
And around he went. There with his
I was really tempted to use the soundboard right then, mate.
Well, you know, look, it'll be all right. But it was true. We spoke about it before with Anthony Zitch, didn't we? Bouncing over the sausage curbs, and we were like, oh, dude, you're going to be in trouble. Well, unfortunately for Chris Sears, he was.
Well, someone else who's also been in trouble again, Joel Peguero, has been in the pits for over 2 minutes and 20. Now we're going to see a replay of what happens to the number 3, the Floridian. This is coming out of
Debris
the corner.
on the outside.
Oh, again, it's the same place where we saw Brian Long go off.
Yep. Debris on the outside, and unfortunately, that's going to be a problem. But they've got to, they can only deal with this themselves. This isn't something that me, you, iRacing, admin, anybody can influence. We cannot set how much comes on, how much comes off. They do it. They bring it on. They're the ones putting themselves in a little bit of a faux pas, should we say. And that's what's going to cause the problem. You can't do anything about it. It is literally all on you. Tim Perry is closing in now on Jeff Groff. His push to pass was been active already. It was in recovery, should we say. And Tim was on his push to pass there, closing up. But Jeff is closing up to Brandon Carroll. And unfortunately for Blake Toe...
Oh, lightning strikes twice for the 53. Let's have a look. This will be coming out of San Donato into Luco, back in, steps out. But credit where credit is due to the driver from Carolina, Blake Toe. There, both times he's had a moment. He's had a code brown, and then he hasn't hit anything.
Oh, mate, don't speak too. Oh, okay, you pulled over and let somebody through. I thought that was like another one, and then jump back to pit lane. So, yeah, but this is the thing. Fair play to him. He didn't hit anything. But you've also got to look at you're bringing the debris on. If you don't if you don't want that problem, don't bring the debris onto the track, because as soon as you do that, as we've seen in open wheelers, time's up.
Exactly. Well, Chris Sears on our screens at the moment, just behind Jake Katz. So the battle between Braden Cowell, Jeff Groff, and Tim Perry for 5th is increasing in its intensity. So is the battle here between Katz and Sears, Benton and Arvello. So it's Stealth Black versus Hello Kitty. Then we got Anthony Zitch trying to close back into Nick Dvornik. That's the battle for 13th and 14th as our drivers 9th and 10th come across the line. And Chris Sears is on the push to pass, pulls to the outside in towards San Donato. He lets go of the push to pass, and he has gotten through quite easily on Jake Katz as the California native now ends up down into 10th. Arvello's trying everything in the playbook at the moment, going through Luca now into Poggio Secco. And Frank, Bryce Benton has a bank slapper, and that is now going to give the opportunity for Arvello to get through. A mistake like that at this part of the circuit, well, Frankie Arvello dives to the inside into the right hander. This is no, not brave enough through Casanova Savelli, but Arrabbiata 1 has been a good home for him, especially with that round the outside we saw a bit earlier on. But loses all that momentum, and both of them hit the kitty litter coming out of Arrabbiata 2 into Scapria and then Palagio. So Frankie Arvello was trying to take advantage of it, and now it's bringing in Dvornik and Zitch into the mix. So this is a four-way scrap over what is 11th on the road. And after this, we'll have 8 to go until the checkered.
Do you know what? They're side by side. I did wonder when the move was going to get done there. Perry's on the inside. Groff got done. I want to just see when that started. I've got a funny feeling that was started running down into turn one. You can see Tim Perry was on the PTP. Round the outside he goes. He gets that line. He's carried a lot more speed. And then just bullies Groff out from the rest of it and goes through. Great move from Tim Perry there, and a good job from him. But these four are still back to get back together, and Arvello is literally on the back end of Benton. So yeah, Benton's going to be feeling the pressure soon, if not already.
He's the cork in the proverbial bottle, is Bryce at the moment. So they make their way throh Borgo San Lorenzo into Casanova Savelli. Arvello has an opportunity, maybe if he might want to try and tee it up, but he's not close enough at the moment. Going into Arrabbiata 1 and 2. Maybe if he can get the drive out of the corner, he's going to try and throw it to the outside through Arrabbiata 2. Now into Scarpria and then Pelagio. Well, still again, no matter what he tries, he has to back out of it because he knows, well, if I try and go for that gap and he closes the door on me, then we're both scuppered and we both may not get the opportunity to potentially score any points. Now, obviously, the thing is, 11th place is 14 points. 30 for a win, 1 point for pole position, which goes the way of Adam Merchant. So he's already gotten off the zero score this season. And now Frankie Arvello dives to the outside very early, coming out of Buccini, and he's wheel to wheel with Bryce Benton in the Hello Kitty number 88. And Arvello, has he got through? No, he hasn't. But he's going to try and keep it around the outside. Is he going to get the left-hander into Luco? He's going to be there, nip and tuck, but into Poggio Secco. Benton has his number around the outside. Oh, now that was the Toro Rosso tribute band that's just hit the barriers coming out of Poggio Secco. Who was that?
Eamon Haig.
Oh, the 44 car.
He's had a rotten day. There's been lots going on with Eamon. I've not shown everything, but this is pretty much the closest one. He goes round, does what everybody does, and then he's just sat here. And then at this moment in time, you've got all of these lot going, yow, round he goes, and very close indeed for Eamon Haig. So he needs to be a little bit more. Well, he can't be careful. He crashed, and that was the end of it. There was nothing he can do there, but everybody made it through cleanly. But for Arvello, he's got to now be brave. He's got to send like that and hope Benton gives him room, because if he doesn't, he's going to be there forever. And I can guarantee now, where both of these will kick in halfway down here, I would have thought they should kick in. Otherwise, they're going to be sitting ducks to Dwarnik. Neither of them can make their mind up which way they're going to go. You can see now they're going to be running too wide. Arvello and Benton. Dwarnik's closed right in because he had his push to pass. And now Benton steals side by side going into two. Great racing.
Yeah, and now Arvello has got the move done through Poggio Secco. And now Dwarnik fancies his opportunity going into Matarazzo.
Oh, he lost his cut nose.
Oh, no, he didn't.
He did. Dwarnik's nose cone. Look.
Oh, no! That was the two Hello Kitty cars coming together.
Nathan lost his nose. There.
Okay. Yeah, so he's lost it.
You just saw it go flying off. Watch, Benton gets a slap. Bang. There's the nose cone of Dwarnik, but yet somehow it appears back on here. And then you've got Benton doing this, but watch from this point of view here, because he's going to come through, Nathan, and he's sitting there thinking, I'm all right, Jack, I've got this. And then he's slowed right up, checked up, and then bang, over we go, tumbling down, and that was it, game over. But that all stemmed from the nose cone bump, Alex.
Yeah, so both Hello Kitty cars have ended up in the graveyard, so to speak, like Adley Fong at Macau. Oh my godfathers, that's the biggest hit I've seen in SR4S ever. And now Anthony Zitch is taking complete advantage of the opportunity here. Round the outside he goes on Dvornik through San Donato, and that means he's going to tee it up here for Luco. In through he goes, and there's going to be an aero imbalance on that front wing of Nick Dvornik, who, yeah, it shows that the wing is there, but he definitely crunched into the back of Bryce Benton. Seth MacFarland has also fallen off the radar. He's ended up in pit lane. Not too sure what happened to the 21. They are dropping like flies at the moment, folks, because there are some drivers at this late stage in the race are on lap 25 out of 29. So 5 to go, including this one. It just goes to show that these cars are a handful, especially round a track like this. And there's JT Smeaton, who is closing in on Gabriel Hopp. Now, no one has exhausted their push to pass yet. And I say that with the fact that there could be the case of it's not if, it's when you exhaust your push to pass. And JT Smeaton, in the meantime, has been keeping pretty level in terms of consistent lap times in comparison with Gabriel Hopp. The gap now expands to about a second, but Adam Merchant has just gone away. It's like he's trying to get to Monza and be on pole position before anybody else in this race, because he's 7 seconds up the road from the Brazilian. But JT Smeaton, who started alongside Merchant on the front row, is going to get a nice hefty chunk of points. It's 24 points. Bearing in mind, folks, this is an 8-round season. Top 7 scores count towards the championship, and we'll crown whoever that season 5 champion is at Zandvoort on March 7th with the 31 lapper around the Dutch circuit just off of the North Sea coast. But what can you say about Adam Merchant? He's not put a foot wrong at all, got the whole shot, put it on pole, and he's on for a maximum score of 31 points for the Squid Gang Racing number 4. He's making his way through into Borgo San Lorenzo, and he's got Brian Long just up ahead of him.
Yeah, back markers, Joshua Benjamin, I believe that is. I think Long is sat with a blanket on his knees at this moment in time, as he's just been taken out. Simple resolution, this looks higher skill than IGP. Well, IGP is the SFL, which is the Super Formula Lights. These are the big brothers. You know, you pick on a younger one. This is the one that will come down the alleyway and get hold of you. So, you know, you want to try and stay away from the bigger brother. But these are the actual Super Formula cars with the push to pass. They're a lot faster and a lot bigger. But IGP generally were F3. Then they went over to Super Formula Lights, roughly the same speed base. So that's why they were all running that as well. But yeah, no, you were not taken away from either series. Both sets of drivers have got their qualities. And to be honest with you, these are a lot harder to drive than the Super Formula Lights are.
And also, another bit of trivia here, 2 drivers that currently race in Formula 1 have come through Super Formula in Japan, which is their top-tier single-seater championship. One of which a former Red Bull driver, one of which now partnering Max Verstappen this year in Formula 1. Liam Lawson and Pierre Gasly at Alpine both raced in Super Formula before they moved into or got close to Formula 1 as part of their Red Bull Junior program. So this is a proven testbed, but they are a proper handful. I did actually get a chance to have a go on one round, I think, where was it, Suzuka, on iRacing, and I just went, right, I'm better off commentating about them. They're a blooming handful, and they seriously are, folks. You've got to have big cojones of steel to be able to hold on for this amount of time. And plus also, this is not a full race distance, but it's still quite a significant amount of distance that we're covering. Over 150 kilometers of racing in most aspects. But Merchant is just doing exactly what he needs to do. He's just keeping it on point. He's about to go on to our penultimate lap of this race here at the season opener for season number 5 for Sim Racing for Simpletons. So, pretty much 10.5 kilometers for the number 4 from Squid Gang Racing to go. Gabriel Hopp is in the pit lane. I think that's a drive-through. Possibly for incident points. He's had 8 off tracks, or has he sustained any damage? Well, he's rumbling down pit lane. Yeah, that's a drive-through penalty written all over it.
Silly boy.
Not how you want to start the season, Gabriel, I'm afraid.
Definitely not. Definitely not. There you go. Gabriel Hopp does get through. but now he's dropped all the way down to 7th, so that's promoted a lot of people up here.
Carson Keen's now found himself in 3rd, Tim Perry 4th, Jeff Groff and Braden Carroll, the drivers that have profited from Gabriel Hop's drive-through penalty. So once they do hit a certain amount of off-tracks or incident points, then they will get a drive-through penalty. Now, the drivers are also, as part of the SR4S regulations, able to effect 1 fast repair, but there are according to section 7.1, reference incidents, racing incidents and safety penalties, drivers will have a 12x initial incident limit before the first drive-through, and a drive-through every 5x thereafter until they reach 20x, and then are disqualified. And iRacing disqualifications, in the words of SR4S, will not be overturned. And, well, we're going to see now Braden Carroll in the number 9. What's happened to him? He's gone off the circuit. Not what you needed to do right now, Braden.
No.
But still, he's gone behind Gabriel Hop, who's on the push to pass. JT Smeaton is the first driver to exhaust the push to pass this season. And Braden Carroll gets back through on Gabriel Hop as we're on the white flag lap, as Adam Merchant leading the way, coming through Scarperia, now through Palagio into Correntaio for the 29th and final time. There aren't enough superlatives in the dictionary to describe this driver's performance here today, James. He's been an absolute whirlwind and a breath of fresh air, so to speak.
Yeah, he's just gone out and dominated, hasn't he? Did what he needed to do and dominated.
So, the first round in the books out of 8 here for Sim Racing for Simpletons Season 5. Round 1 in Mugello goes the way of Squid Gang Racing's number 4, Adam Merchant, who comfortably dominates proceedings. JT Smeaton started 2nd, finished in 2nd. Carson Keen in the number 5, running under the Valley Motorsports banner. Well, he hits the podium for the first time this season. Tim Perry, the 83 from England in the Altitude esports car, comes home in 4th, having made it up from 8th on the grid. Jeff Groff rounds out the top 5. Gabriel Hop could have been on course for a P3, ends up 6th ahead of Braden Carroll from Valley Motorsports. Frankie Brzezowski for FNG Racing takes the next position. Chris Sears in the number 18. He now swerves from side to side here at Mugello and will round out 9th place with Jake Katz, who started 14th on the grid and will complete our provisional top 10. Anthony Zitch, the biggest, well, one of 2 drivers that made up 11 positions from 22nd on the grid, finishes P11, representing the SR4S crew. Nick Dvornik, the Canadian in the number 58, will come across the line to finish P12, having started 16th. Frankie Arvello started in 11th. He'll take 13th on the road as he crosses the stripe, with Joshua Benjamin in 14th, Seth MacFarlane 15th. Max Voorhees, Christian Jasper recovers to finish in 17th after that race, with Eamon Hake, I think, due to complete his last lap of the race and will finish all the way down in 18th, having started in 21st position. Then we saw the biggest incident of the night with Nathan C. and Bryce Benton in the 2 privateer entries, both coming together, and Hello Kitty was definitely a shade of her former self on both vehicles totaled in 1 slight incident. Blake Toe in 21st, Joel Peguero, Brian Long and Peter Fedding unfortunately retiring early in the race. But Adam Merchant, what can you say, James? He did the business, he kept it on the black stuff, whereas everyone else was struggling to catch up with him. Gabriel Hop did have a little bit of a sniff in the early few laps of the race, but even he came under duress with a drive-through penalty initiated by the iRacing server, which dropped him eventually down to 6th at the flag.
Yeah, and I think it's all a lesson learned, isn't it? Clearly, Merchants come to play, and they're going to have to get on and make sure they get it right. because otherwise they are going to be in trouble. But we've got the top three in the booth. Let's start off with Mr. Carson Keane in third place for you, Alex.
Well, Carson, welcome back. Good to have you back on the grid. Were you hoping for a podium, or maybe even a little bit higher up in this early stage of season 5, considering it's the only round we've done so far out of 8?
Yeah, I mean, a podium was a nice surprise, to be honest with you. I obviously want to aim for a podium or top 5 or a win, but there's some pretty quick guys in the league this year, so kind of a nice surprise, I guess. I don't know if that's the right word for Gabriel. I think he must have got a drive-through on incident, if I had to guess. I don't know if you guys saw.
Yes, he did
Yeah.
indeed. He did indeed, with a couple of laps to go, and it dropped him out of P3, in which, well, as a direct result, promoted you. But as you said, you've raced with us here at Sim Racing for Simpletons for quite a long time. Not always been able to commit to full campaigns, but still to have a bit more of a challenge with quicker drivers like Adam Merchant, JT Smeaton, who rounded out our top 2. It's nice to have that challenge because it pushes you ahead. It pushes you further to bring your A game a little bit more, doesn't it?
Oh, 100%. I think it's probably one of the better ways in iRacing to improve your skills is to, put yourself on a grid next to faster people than you. And there's a number of people that are quicker than me on the grid tonight. So hopefully be able to keep up with these guys through the rest of the season.
Got one final question for you, Carson. Are you going to be competing in the entirety of season 5? Is it a yay or is it a nay?
I think it's a yay. Hopefully real life doesn't get in the way of the virtual racing world, but my goal absolutely is to make full use of all the opportunities here and do the best to get up there on the leaderboard.
Brilliant. Well, Carson, thanks very much for talking to us. Anyone you want to give a shout out to before we let you go?
Oh, just shout out to you guys. I'm sure the broadcast will be great to watch back as always. And then just thanks to the league and the admins and Brian and all those guys for putting it on. It's a lot of fun to be part of this community.
Brilliant. Carson, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next week at Monza for round 2.
Thanks, guys.
Great to chat to Carson Keane. Who have we got next, James?
Second place man, Mr. JT.
JT Smeaton, welcome to the booth for our post-race show here after what was an interesting opening round for Sim Racing for Simpletons. Congrats on the second place. Adam ran away with it quite a bit, didn't he?
Yeah, I mean, he was pretty quick, especially at the end of the first lap. I almost spun, and after that, when Gabriel got ahead of me, I was just stuck in the dirty air. It's pretty horrendous around here, so. But yeah, shame about him. I was definitely looking forward to battle him.
Yeah, he was closing in before he got his unfortunate drive-through penalty. But to start off this 8-round calendar with a P2, exactly where you qualified, you must be feeling pretty happy with that, because that keeps you second in the championship at the moment with 27 points behind Adam Merchant, who got a maximum score of 31. But what was the trickiest parts with obviously this new debris system that we have here on the iRacing server, where people were bringing gravel onto the track, and obviously the rubber that we see normally go off the racing line? It proved to be a bit of a challenge here, didn't it, at Mugello?
Yeah, it was definitely a challenge, especially through the middle part where you're going through the S's at insane speeds, and when you pick up the gravel, you just start understeering, and it's definitely adds a new element to the race, and I definitely enjoyed the challenge. So, yeah.
Well, we've got Monza in just a week's time, another Italian circuit. How do you fancy your chances there? Because that's going to be a flat-out adventure, isn't it, around the Temple of Speed?
Yeah, for sure. Slipstream is definitely going to be a big factor at the track. Honestly, I think anybody could win that race, because it's with all the long straights and chicanes, it's going to definitely provide some close and great racing.
Brilliant. Well, JT, thanks for talking to us in the post-race show. Anyone you want to give a shout out to before we let you go and enjoy the rest of your evening?
Thank you. Yeah, thank you for having me. Shout out to Adam, but please go slower so we can catch up.
That's a brilliant way. JT Smeaton, our second place driver. Well done today here at Mugello. Second in the standings, leaving the opening round. We'll see you next week at Monza.
See you next week.
Big thank you to JT Smeaton. Last by certainly no means least, let's bring in our winner for the first round of the season, for season 5 of Sim Racing for Simpletons, and with a maximum score of 31 points. Adam Merchant joins us. Adam, congrats on the pole position. Congrats on the W. How are you feeling?
Thanks, Alex. Appreciate it. That was really fun. First time I've raced with a lot of these guys, but pretty calm race in front. There was definitely some pressure in the first half, but took care of my tires, and that was really it.
Yeah, you actually kept a hold of your 200 seconds of push to pass until a little bit later on when you thought, you know what, I'm just going to put the hammer down, and you started setting what was effectively becoming a glorified qualifying session. We were sort of like seeing your best and your lap times show up purple, and I was like thinking, okay, this guy can, he, you know, if you wanted a getaway driver, you got a proper wheelman right there. But you know, how did the car feel, even with the fact that there were a lot of battles happening behind you, and a lot of close calls, a lot of drivers getting unstuck with the gravel coming onto the circuit? Did that cause you any problems in any way, shape, or form during the race?
Well, yeah, the gravel is a new update to iRacing, and I really it adds a lot of uncertainty. Like as being the P1 driver, you're the first person to go over the new set of gravel. Without a spotter or anything, sometimes it's too late. And even in the official racing training this week, I definitely DNF'd and binned it due to gravel. So thankfully no crazy incidents today. But yeah, I kept my push to pass until I burned off enough fuel, tried to keep the tires from scrubbing in the first half. So would just use the push to pass down the start finish straight. So it'd benefit, the end and the start to the following lap. So try to just do that as consistently as possible and just keep the tires underneath.
Tire conservation is going to be very crucial next time out at Monza for round 2. Of course, we go from a very technical Italian circuit to one that is known simply as the Temple of Speed. It's going to be a tall order for everybody, isn't it?
Yeah, Monza is always gonna. It's a lot of fun there. It was pretty tough to pass around here, but the straight at Monza and not too many high speed corners, a lot of heavy braking zones. Should have a lot more overtaking opportunities. But yeah, super excited for that.
Well, Adam, thanks for joining us in the booth for our post-race show. Anyone you'd like to give a shout out to before we let you go ahead and get a bit of hydration and enjoy the rest of your evening?
Yeah, definitely some hydration. I'll say shout out to my parents and my dog Lola, my roommate Reese, my boy Star, and anyone else who's watching.
Brilliant. Adam Merchant, our championship leader with a total maximum score of 31 points. We'll see you next week at the Temple of Speed in Monza. Well done tonight, Adam.
Thanks, Alex.
Well, good to hear from our top 3 after all the dust has settled here at Mugello. James Parfitt, what a standout performance from this man that we've just spoken to. Our championship leader, 31 points. He's got on the right foot, and he's going to be a tough nut to crack over this 8-round calendar, isn't he?
Absolutely. They are going to have their work cut out trying to chase down Adam Merchant. I'm interested to see how they get on. And I think, to be honest, most of us will be interested to see how they get on, because I think at the end of the day, it's going to be very, very tough for them. They've got to bring their A game. That's it. They've got to get out, got to get the practice done, and they've got to bring their A game to it.
Well, that wraps up the coverage here for the first of 8 rounds for Season 5 for Sim Racing for Simpletons Super Formula here from Mugello. And you've been watching live on the JP Broadcasting Network, and you've joined myself, Alex Goldschmidt, and James Parfitt. We'll be back with you next week for round 2. So in just 7 days' time, the turbocharged 4-cylinder engines will be bursting into life at the Temple of Speed at Monza. Don't forget to set your dates in your diaries for next week, because it's set to be a flat-out, high-intensity, full-speed extravaganza around a place that is very hallowed in modern-day motorsport. A lot of action still to come here on the JP Broadcasting Network. Well, if you want to go to Martinsville, you've got the NicholsOilPros.com Series 3 Round 3 at Martinsville as we speak, live here on JPB. Then we've got the Clark St James GT3 Season 5 Round 2 and the Radical SR8 Championship Season 2 Round 5 at Zolder, taking place, funnily enough, in UK time a little bit later on today. Then we've got the Autobahn Sports Car Challenge, the FDL Super Formula Light Sprint Series getting underway, but that's it for now. Thank you so much for watching. Race hard, race fair, and if in doubt, well, you better go flat out. We'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Good night.